So
wrong.
I'm asking you. Hold on. I'm asking you a direct question. Do you have an example of a pressurized system adjacent to a vacuum? Go ahead.
Yeah, the atmosphere.
The atmosphere, the Earth.
That's begging the question.
No, there is no dome. Where's the dome?
That's the very thing in question. That's affirming the consequence.
Show me the dome.
Try again.
The dome is in question. Right. I want proof of the dome, other than some postulated.
Try again.
The dome.
Let's go back to
the question.
How come I can't see the dome? Why can't I see the dome?
Without begging the question, please. No,
why can't I see the dome? No, wait. You're begging the question. Excuse me. You're begging the question with the dome. You have no evidence of the dome.
No
you have
one
nobody's
said dome.
Yeah, you container.
You said dome.
What do you want to say? You said container.
Listen, bro. I don't have to actually. I don't have to provide a sample of. I don't have. Listen. I don't have to provide a sample of the dome or the firmament at all. This is a necessary precondition for a pressurized system.
You've been mistaught.
Bro, can I talk?
So you need to stop interrupting. It's almost like he wants to get muted so he can have an excuse to think, you know what I mean, instead of actually having the discussion. It's like he wants to get muted. So if we do it, he's going to have a reason to leave and think that he wants. It's a very nasty tactic. So just stop so we don't have to mute anyone. Stop interrupting. Just have a normal conversation, please. Go ahead, Lion.
I won't raise my voice if I don't get interrupted, I promise. Can I just talk? Okay. NASA Shill, do you have an example, without begging the question or from the consequent of everything in question, which is space? Do you have an example where you have a pressurized system adjacent to a vacuum on Earth? Go ahead.
Yes, it's called the atmosphere. Where's the dome? You postulate that there has to be a container. You postulate there has to be. He doesn't. Excuse me. You said there's a container over the atmosphere. Where is this container? How high is it? How far is it? What's it made out of? What's it made out of? You've been mistaught.
Oh, can I respond to that? Okay. All man-made systems that we see right now, where scuba tanks or submarines or gas tanks, propane tanks, bro, every example that we have on Earth of a pressurized system is with a container. It's a necessary antecedent. I don't have to go to outer space when we have plenty of examples on Earth showing the only way that you can have a pressurized system is under containment.
You've been mistaught. Where is the dome? Where is the container for the atmosphere?
Do you have a direct observation of gas pressure sustaining a vacuum without a barrier? Do you have that?
So where's the barrier? Show me the barrier.
If not, all natural phenomenon, natural observations show the only way that you can have a pressurized system is under containment. Unless you can provide the contrary, please go ahead.
Show me the barrier. I'd be more than happy to agree with you if you could show me the barrier, the dome.
You're not really addressing his argument. You're not addressing his argument. Hold on.
I am actually. He postulates.
No, you're not.
He postulates that the atmosphere is like a scuba tank.
He asked you a question.
Excuse me, I'm listening. I was talking, but okay, you want to talk over me for a while? Go ahead.
Well, NASA, he wants to know an example of where we have a pressure next to a vacuum. But all you have to do is show the top of wings when they're flying, like the F-14s and F-15s, and then they're going to do their maneuvers. They have a water vapor condensing on top of the wing. That's a vacuum. On bottom, they have a high pressure zone next to it, and it stays there as long as that force is there. There will be that pressure next to a vacuum. And
you see this machine? This is my top secret classified, top secret NASA pressure without container machine. In front of this machine, there is a pressure gradient.
Exactly.
There's more pressure in front of this machine than behind this machine.
Thank you. Okay, now Zanuck came in. Now NASA's kind of answering the question, or trying to, where with Zanuck's kind of assistance there. So you guys have said your point. Now let's pass it back to Lion for a rebuttal, if you want to rebut that. They're saying fan blades and wings on an airplane.
You guys keep using examples within our atmosphere, right? That's begging the question. That's the very thing in question right now, right? You guys are saying that there's no firmament, that there's no container up there, that there's a vacuum devoid of matter adjacent to a pressurized system. I'm asking you for evidence outside of the very thing in question, which is outer space. So you cannot use outer space to defend your premise. You have to give me an example on Earth showing a pressurized system adjacent to a vacuum. If you can't do that, then just say it.
It's our own atmosphere.
Wait, don't forget, without a container.
Wait a minute, hold on. You asked
next to a vacuum without a container.
Containment requires a force. Air has weight. That's a force. So by virtue of its weight, there is containment. That's the answer to part of the question. The second part is showing you example. If I have a low pressure on top of the wing shown by fog on top of an F-16's wing in a high G turn, and a high pressure, we know it's high pressure because it's supporting the weight of that entire multi-ton airplane. There is, and as long as that plane is doing a high G turn, there will be a high pressure right next to a vacuum. And vacuum, you're not saying absolute vacuum, you're saying vacuum. So vacuum is different degrees. How much vacuum do you need to have?
Zanuck, I already explained to you that you can have a gradient density within a container.
Sure, right? Of course you can.
You can have pressure differential. You can have high pressure and low pressure systems.
Dude, let them respond. Let them respond.
You have storms, low and high pressure systems. You have a gradient density. You can have that within a container. That's not mutually exclusive to the globe. So stop using that as evidence. That's begging the question. We're not talking about the atmosphere that we live in. When everything that we see on Earth, whether it's submarines, spacesuits, gas tanks, whatever it is, it's under containment. You cannot demonstrate an example where you have a pressurized system without containment. Containment is a necessary antecedent for pressurized.
Yeah, the ocean. The ocean. System. Hold on. The ocean. So you have 14 psi at the surface and thousands of psi in the depths. Thousands of the Marianas Trench. Why isn't that pressure of 3,000 or 4,000 psi way greater than what I'm talking about?
The question,
not begging the question. No, not at all. We're talking about why is that pressure, that's thousands of psi, not rushing to the surface when the gas above it, which is just another fluid, it has 14.7 going to something around zero. Not even perfect zero, but something around zero. Why doesn't that pressure go into space like you? Hold on, like you claim it might do it. It won't because air has weight, and hold on, almost done. And water has weight too. They're both can happen simultaneously and for the same exact reasons, called hydrostatics.
All right, so there's no direct observation of pressure sustained in a vacuum without a barrier, without a container.
I just gave you one.
The container is a necessary antecedent, right? So when you bring up modalities of water, right, we have oceans and then we have water vapor within the same system, right? We get the same exact thing inside of a container, inside of a propane tank. Right, the same propane tank that you use to barbecue your ribs, right? That propane tank, guess what? You have propane in both modalities, in a gaseous state and a liquid state within a container. That's not exclusive to the globe. Stop using that. I don't know how many times I got to tell you guys. Stop begging the question. Try again.
Begging the question. We agree you can have a gradient in a propane tank. There's no question that you can. There is a variance in pressure from top to bottom, especially if it's a tall one, you can actually measure it. But it also doesn't matter that there's different modalities of this particular gas, also in liquid or in gas. It can be all gas. It still has weight, and you can weigh the propane tank in the same way you weigh a propane tank, an oxygen tank that doesn't have gas in it under high pressure. And the same way you can weigh the air in our atmosphere, which doesn't have a container. The ocean doesn't have a container. It's totally open to the top. Why doesn't the 3,000 psi pressure at the bottom, why doesn't it rush to the top?
I'll explain to you because there's a container. The only reason that you have uniformity in nature.
Hold on, Xanax, you have to stop interrupting right now. Stop, okay? Because I don't want to temporarily mute you. Then it's going to look like you feel like you're being shut down. Don't interrupt. Just let it go back and forth. Right. Secondly, Lion said a pressurized system, not a gradient within a system. But go ahead, Lion.
So the whole reason that you even have the modalities that we have in a container. In the propane tank, the reason you have liquid propane and gaseous propane is because of the container. If there was no container, what would happen? There would be no gradient, right? The whole reason that you have a gradient, the reason you have stability in nature, uniformity in nature, is because there is a container. That's what gives you the gradient. If there was no container, what would happen? It would all escape. It would all just evacuate.
How can you continually postulate that a container exists without any evidence of said container? You say there must be a container in the atmosphere, yet you can't find it for some odd reason.
He didn't make that argument, though. He didn't make the argument of here's the container. He's talking about the antecedent and physics, and then asking if any demonstration can be shown to the contrary. He didn't make an argument that, hey, here's a container up there. I found it, and I'm going to send it to you over Discord. He didn't make that argument.
Wait a minute, hold on. He just said the antecedent of pressure is a container. Therefore, he is postulating the container exists in the atmosphere in order to cause the pressure. That's what the antecedent means. So he is postulating a container.
It's a logical deduction. It's a syllogism. So I can give you the syllogism if you want.
So where is it?
I don't listen. Do you understand how deductive syllogisms work?
Do you understand that? Okay, fine.
There's other. Hold on, bro. Hold on.
You can logically say it exists. You can say it logically exists. Okay, where is it?
Dude, hold on, bro. There's other avenues of acquiring knowledge besides empiricism. You do realize that, right? The scientific method isn't the end all be all for acquiring knowledge. You do realize that, right?
Actually, in this case, it is. This is called
No,
science.
it's not.
You say
No, it's
you
not.
Say that, oh, it's not. You're gonna say that it exists in some sort of what? It's going to some sort of religious belief now.
No,
This
I
is-
can give
so
you
you've gone from natural
I
science.
can give you
you've
a
given from-
logical syllogism, and
I
I can
don't care.
defend my premise with empirical evidence.
That's right.
Actually,
But you
He
start
doesn't
with
so
a
I
false-
don't, I don't,
You
I
start
don't
with a
actually
false
have
premise.
to give you a sample of the firmament. I don't have to actually give you a picture or video of the firmament to
You
show
start
you
with
that it's a logical necessity for pressure.
You start with a false premise, you'll end up with a false conclusion. In order to show that your hypothesis of a container is
No,
true,
I can give you, dude. I can
in
give
order
you a
to show,
a
in
simple
order, God, I
syllogism
was
from the top
talking
of
in
my
this
head,
case.
right?
I was fucking talking in this case. And stop interrupting me for a fucking
Sorry.
change.
All right, go ahead.
You've made a hypothesis that a container exists. Okay, that's an excellent hypothesis. Now, in order to show this hypothesis is true, you will need empirical evidence of this container.
Dude, I don't need to show you the firmament, right? All I have to do. No, all man-made pressurized systems, submarine spacesuits, gas tanks, propane tanks, all are under containment. Everything that we observe in nature, right? When it comes to pressurized systems, are under containment, bro.
So therefore, the atmosphere needs a container. Excellent hypothesis. Show me the container.
Premise 1, all environments that maintain pressure require containment. Premise 2, the Earth has an atmospheric pressure. Conclusion, therefore, the Earth must have a container.
Excellent hypothesis. Now show me the container.
It's not a hypothesis. It's a logical
It is
syllogism.
hypothesis. You start out with a false you start out with a false statement though. If the Earth hasn't contained me,
for the Earth must have a container.
Excellent.
To require containment. Premise 2, the Earth has an atmospheric pressure. Conclusion, therefore, the Earth must have a container.
Excellent hypothesis. Now show me the container.
It's not a hypothesis. It's a logical
It is
syllogism.
hypothesis. You start out with a false you start out with a false statement though. If the Earth hasn't a container, how come I can't see it? How come it's invisible? Why is it invisible in all wavelengths and all spectrums? Everybody, we shot rockets up as high as we can go. We've climbed to the top of mountains. No, and even you guys can't agree on how far it is or what's it made out of. Where does it touch the flat? How come we can't find the edge of it? It should be lower at if it's a dome, if you will, it should be lower someplace. We should be able to go touch it. Nobody's ever found this thing.
Nowhere does it say that container has to be a physical container, because gravity can be a container.
Well, can I just say, just for clarity of the arguments, NASA Shield, the thing is, you are technically straw manning. I understand you really want to see this container. I know you're really into this, and I know you question the globe so deeply that you really want to think anything other than the globe, and that's why you're here debating it. All right, it's a little bit of a slight ad hoc, sorry, but anyways, I know you really are into this, but the thing is, sticking with his actual argument, this analogy, forget immaculate conception, but I'm going to make this argument. If a pregnant woman walks down the street and she's pregnant, there's an antecedent that there was a man who got her pregnant. Again, leaving out immaculate conception for the moment and religious. I'm just saying the antecedent is that a man got her pregnant, or I guess you could say she was artificially inseminated, but that semen entered into her body. However, you could make an argument that semen entered her body without having to go find the man or the doctor with a turkey baster or whatever it is that put it up in her. You don't have to go find that in order for the argument to still stand. So just sticking with his actual argument, he hasn't made a claim of here's the container. He hasn't made that argument. He's just making the argument of the antecedent and then asking for any other demonstration, because I don't want to make his full argument, but because I don't want to strawman him, but he's just saying if you can't show that demonstration, then that indicates something, that you don't have something that he is putting forth would have to be the case.
Well, here's my magical pressurized container.
Yeah, well, how is it our side wanting the proof of this thing? Why is it that it's not logical for us to demand proof that this container exists? It's the same thing.
That's fine, but that's just a different argument. It's just a different argument.
Okay, but we just switched the argument then.
Nobody interrupt anyone, please. Just no one interrupt. It's just one at a time. It's all we got to do. No, go ahead.
So all the evidence, the empirical evidence, is actually on our side. When we look right now in our reality, right, all systems that have pressure are under containment in our reality. And I already brought up a bunch of examples. Even spacesuits, scuba tanks, propane tanks, submarines, right, are under containment. Now, unless you can provide the contrary, which is a pressurized system adjacent to a vacuum, which you can't. The empirical, observational, natural, phenomenal evidence is on our side.
Where's the container?
What don't you understand?
Yeah, but everything that you just named, that list of stuff you just named, is all things that we can actually put something to. A container, an oxygen tank. We can find an oxygen tank. I mean, that's what we're saying. Like, there's no this grand container that you guys are talking about. You can't show it. You can show all the list of stuff you just said. You can show that to me. Like I see a picture of it.
Here's containment of low pressure next to high pressure. I told you this before. Here it is. As long as that force is applied to that airplane, that will be present. You'll have fog, low pressure, near vacuum, near a very high vacuum next to a very high pressure, like you asked for. And here it is.
Let me see.
Yeah, Zanuck, I just don't think. Can I just say though, but there's a difference between within a gradient to have some kind of differential within a gradient. But the difference, I think, is when Lime said a pressurized system, meaning an entire system that is a pressurized system next to another one. Hold on.
That's not a
system. Don't interrupt. First, the difference would be if you have one propane tank and you have some differential in it, that's one thing, or one tank. But if you have two tanks and you match, you hook them together, and then you open up the valve, and one of them's a vacuum, one of them's not, something very dramatic is going to happen. So those are two different things. One of them, I just think of it as a system, a contained system. The other one is something happening within the contained system, which is different.
Right. Well, let me say it like this.
You can have that container in a centrifuge, for example, and you can pretty much open it up and you'll still have super high pressure at the bottom and nothing would leak out.
So let me say it this way.
As long as there's a force. Because the way is containment. Whether it be virtue of a container or be virtue of the gas's weight, there is no difference. Those those Gaussian collisions are no different between the two.
So nowhere does it say that a container has to be physical. So what we say, obviously, and you guys have heard this, we say that gravity creates the container because we know that vacuums don't suck. Vacuums don't do anything. So you only have one force, and that force is pulling it down to the ground. You know yourself, when you drop something, it falls. Air has mass. Air weighs something. You know that because you can fill up a gas tank and it'll get heavier. You know that gases have weight. So anything with weight falls to the ground. If there's nothing trying to pull it up, because vacuums don't suck, and only everything is trying to pull it down, then it does not matter that there would be a vacuum in space, a gradient, and a pressure here at the surface. You only have one force, and that force, if you want to call it gravity, you want to call it dropity, whatever you want to call it, it's only pulling down. Nothing is pulling up. And even though the molecules are trying to push off each other and bounce off each other, they aren't strong enough to overcome that force pulling them down. That's why we have a gradient. That's why we understand that's the way it works. And so that's how you can have a pressure on the surface, a vacuum in space, and they can exist next to each other with a gradient.
That's incoherent. Gravity is not mutually exclusive to the globe model. Believe it or not, right? We believe in things falling to the ground, the phenomena of things falling to the ground, right? Within a container, you have things that are organized according to their weights and densities, right? Yes, there's still gravity within the container. That's what sets the. Somebody just
gravity. Is gravity on the flat Earth?
Yeah. So hold on, man. Let him finish his thought.
I'm sorry.
You can go on mute.
Yeah. So gravity is a weak force, right? If you don't have a container, what happens to the gas? It evacuates, even within a gravitational system. I don't know why you're using gravity. It's not going to work for you, buddy. Try again.
Yeah, because
we put an SE on you, bro. Sorry.
The force of the gas pushing off of itself to try to expand is not greater than the force of gravity pulling it down. That's why we have a gradient. We literally know that when you climb to the top of Mount Everest, air gets so thin, or when you fly in an airplane, air gets so thin you can't even breathe it anymore. It becomes so thin. So we understand physically that the molecules are pushing against each other, but they are not strong enough to overcome whatever is pulling them down. We see that because we have a gradient. We physically know that. So, i.e., if you keep going up and you have a vacuum above that gradient and you have pressure on the surface, that does not mean that pressure should just fly out into space. Because there is no force pulling it upward. There's only a force pulling it down, whatever that force is. I don't know.
You sound just like Dr. Phil, dude. That's crazy.
I know. Everybody tells me that. I know.
We'll be right back.
I get that a lot. We'll be right back.
So wait, hold on. There's gravity on the flat Earth now? That's new.
No, I'm just saying I was just saying that gravity on our model works as a container.
Right, but I
That's all I was
thought
getting at.
the thing with
okay, what flat earthers disagree about gravity is the cause. We don't disagree with the phenomena. We're not that stupid, bro. Stop strawmanning
I'm not
the model
saying you are lying. I'm not beating you up.
No,
not that we have
Cole.
a model, but we believe things fall to the ground, dude. Right? We see things fall to the ground. There's a natural phenomena. Things fall to the ground. What we debate is the cause. Some say it's mass attracting mass. Others say it's the bending and warping of space-time, according to Einstein. I don't believe in neither of those causes. Now, the cause is inconclusive. We're still trying to figure out the cause. Some say it might be electrostatic, electromagnetic in nature, right? But that's besides the point, dude. Gravity is something that is not mutually exclusive to the globe. Go ahead.
Well, you could even say that if you want to say that electrostatics is what's causing it, that's fine. Then you could say that electrostatics is causing the container, but it doesn't have to be a physical container. It can be something else causing the containment that is not physical. That's all I'm trying to say.
You guys ever heard?
Only if it's like a video game and reality ends. You know what I'm saying? Or it just goes on for infinity.
Yeah, I actually agree with that to a degree. Like the whole gas pressure in a container, that full argument, that's usually given on like the sort of planar, flat Earth side. I don't necessarily even fully agree with. Because yeah, you could even have no container on a flat Earth. You know, you could have just a gradient going up and up and up and up, technically forever. I mean, the possibility. I'm not saying it is that. I'm just saying that you technically.
There'd have to be there still have to be, because then that wouldn't explain the collection here. You know what I mean? It wouldn't explain certain pressure values here. If it went on forever, if you think about it, right? Then you wouldn't have 14.7 psi. It'd be something way lower.
Well, what if we're just in the
14.7 being created?
Yeah, what if we're just in the 14.7 part of the gradient based on, the electrostatics or whatever else is going on, and then it just goes up and up and up.
There's tons of reasons. You could say how the gas is created here, the electrostatics, ether flow. You come with tons of stuff.
To me, it seems like there is finite Earth, whether that be what they say it is, or if they're hiding land, who knows? But I think it does have to be contained. Because if you had an open top, it's.
But if the top don't stop,
yeah, it's like where does that go?
You can't. And once you pop, you can't stop. If it just goes for infinity, then
bands will make her dance. Yeah, bands will make her dance. Wait, are we rapping?
But all that being said, if you can't replicate though gas pressure without a container, then that argument still stands. In and of itself. Right. So that part of it.
Unless we beg the question and appeal to space, which they keep doing.
Really? They never do that.
Are you saying Earth isn't a good example for gas pressure without a container?
You can't use the Earth.
I'm just joking.
They keep using the Earth.
Sorry, Lion. Well, Merry Christmas Eve to everybody, regardless of what you think Earth is.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, guys. Happy Hanukkah to
Wait, Happy Hanukkah.
You're a couple weeks late, guys.
my bad, bro. I got you next year.
About a couple
of 7 gifts. 5 days late.
Don't worry, Dicelo. You're still my little Meshuggah.
But they usually appeal to the gradient, right? That how it tapers off to the ionosphere or the Kármán line. But that's not mutually exclusive to the globe, bro. You can have a gradient density within a container, dude. We see it every day.
Or in an infinity space.
And we have gradient densities within containers, bro. So I don't know why they keep using that as like their go-to.
You have a gas pressure gradient inside infinity.
Dude, I don't even know what you're talking, Jeremy.
That means you still have to have it contained.
Jeremy loves infinity.
It's
you
infinity.
Love bringing up infinity, dude.
No, but it's not. You wouldn't have gas pressure.
Infinity.
What is the gas pushing off? It would still have to have some type of containment.
Push off of what? For what?
Exactly. Exactly.
What if we're on an infinite plane? Okay, so it's infinite that way, and then it's infinite up. Where's the container going to be? Plus, couldn't God do it? I want to go into a whole religious thing, but couldn't God be like, yo, gas molecules fucking stay right here. Don't go past this point, and that's it. No container.
No, I mean, there could be boundaries. Yes, non-physical boundaries that we're not aware of, what it's made of.
God could just be like, yo, I control everything. This guy's head ice, and he's just like, yo, gas molecules don't go past this point. That's it, because I fucking said so.
Well, like, what if you had like an infinitely deep ocean? Let's say, like, you could go at a certain pressure, 30 feet down, 100 feet down, 200 feet, and you're at a different pressure, but there's no container holding you from, the 30-foot pressure versus 40 foot or 50 or 60. There's no container, but there's different pressure. And in theory, if that ocean went forever, but if it was like infinitely deep ocean and you were just in one layer of it.
Do you know what I mean? Though, if there's still something to contain it, it's like the infinite regress argument. It gets into that.
It's like having a body without the skin to hold everything in, dude. Like you can't have pressure without containment. Like everything would just fall out, dude.
I like that analogy.
It just doesn't make any sense.
There still has to be boundaries somewhere. Just because of that's how kinetic gas theory works.
But those boundaries don't have to be physical. Was all I was saying. You can have boundaries.
It does have
magnetic
to be physical.
Fields. No, you can use magnetic fields to have boundaries.
Magnetic fields are physical.
Yeah, that's still physical, but I think I know what he means. He means like a material.
I mean, like a glass or wood or something.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like tangible.
Yeah,
tangible. Yeah,
that's a better word.
Yeah, man. I'm with you. I've heard Glober say that the weight of the air is enough to be its own container, which is nuts to me. What's holding in all the air then? Gravity.
Gravity.
Yeah, that's what they say. Gravity. Does it make sense?
There is a downward bias. Sure. Something's set in the gradient. It ain't just Archimedes' principle, dude, or Boyle's.
Yeah, there is a top-down force.
Yeah,
I agree. People call it the cosmic microwave. Background. Tesla called it. What did he call it? He called it something.
Ether.
Cosmic energy, ether. You even have Newton, by the way. I don't know if you guys know this. Newton had the same kind of theory in his paper called Vegetation of Metals.
Oh, can you read it?
Oh,
if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Will you read it to us?
Yeah.
Have you guys heard about that paper though? Because this was actually one of his more prominent theories of gravity because he was an alchemist at heart.
Yeah. Most of his career, actually, at the end was spent just towards weird stuff like that.
Yeah, and the reason why he had to do it in secret, or why no one really talks about the manuscript, is because if you were an alchemist, you would have been hung by the church at the time.
Really?
Yeah, you would have been hung, and then they would have put tinsel on you and made an example out of you. Yeah, tinsel's
Wasn't he eating like mercury, Newton, and stuff?
He was doing a lot of weird shit. But yeah, here, I'll find it. I got it right here. I thought it was absolutely fascinating.
He was boofing mercury, I heard.
Yeah, they say he died of natural causes. The dude was basically creating who knows what kind of concoctions in like the secret basement that he made.
That's your prophet.
Did you say boofing?
Yeah, that's your prophet. It's
that was the
Newton
cure for
and
BD back then.
Einstein married his cousin, dude. I don't know, man.